What up, Earthlings? I'm gonna light some Palo Santo. I had a really amusing meditation this morning. And that's probably what I'm gonna share about. But some of that. We'll do a little silence because that's what I've been doing a lot of, and you get used to it. It's not easy, but you get used to it, and it really is good for you. All right, so I'm remembering to turn my phone off before I really start, which is a good habit to get into. So here's what I've been thinking about a lot lately, because I've been in silence, and yes, I'm gonna think, but there's also space for things to come in. Okay. Everybody has addictions, whether it's video games or being adversarial, conflict, that's what I'm looking for, or anger, or like TV, YouTube videos. Like we all have like an obsessive nature, towards something or other. And I'm still trying to tease out what mine are. And I feel fortunate, honestly, that alcohol ended up one of them, because that's a really easy one to point at and say, like, okay, you have to dismantle this thing that your brain is doing with that stuff, right? Because now I have ways to dismantle what my brain does with other stuff, like a lot of it is not wanting to think, but not really knowing how to stop thinking, because we were also addicted to thinking. It's like the brain is always fucking moving, always figuring shit out and stuff like that. And we like plan for futures that don't happen. And, sometimes my brain will go on this tangent, and maybe this will be useful to you, but like what I'll do is I'll be like, hold up, this is like hurting. It feels really active up there. And I'll be like, what is the instant Polaroid picture right now of the construction of all of the words in my head? And if it's some future thing or some past thing, or, something unpleasant that is a shitty Polaroid picture that I should just chuck in the garbage, like in my head, that might not even happen, or happened a long time ago and is not significant in the present day at the present moment. I'm like, I'm upset. I'm getting my body into this brain activity of being pissed off or sad or whatever about a Polaroid picture in my head. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not always that simple, but sometimes it is. And just the exercise of doing that is humorous. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, wow, that's just a fucking picture in my head that I'm imagining that might not ever come to be. This isn't even what I was going to talk about when I started out. And that's okay, because sometimes that's how life is going these days. Like nothing is making sense, because nothing really does fucking make sense. Okay. I just go with the flow. But I was meditating this morning, and I was like, I just need some direction. Like, where am I going? Or, where should I focus? And the response I got was every direction. And And I was like, you fucking like assholes. Like, I hate you like the real kind right now. Because that's just not how I was raised. Okay. That's not how I was raised. And that's not how most people were raised. That's not how the world worked. And I'm sure that there's somebody out there who would be like, yeah, well, you have to like pick a direction and focus on it. And like, I read Jordan Peterson. I fucking love Jordan Peterson. So there is an element of that. Like, I get it, but it's not either or, it's both and more. um there's an element too of like, take it fucking easy. Like, just take it easy. I'm not in a mad dash for anything right now. Things are okay. And sometimes in somebody's present situation, they may not be okay. And then you have to pull the present moment in a little bit. I have talked about this before, but like sometimes my present moment has to get really narrowed down to the immediate right now. Am I in harm's way at this very moment? And right now I'm able to, um, oh wow, I'm learning something about myself right now. I'm actually extending out my present moment circle to include more. And so since I'm experimenting with those boundaries, I'm experimenting again with going into freak out mode a little bit, So it's like, so I'm typically, always when I'm in any sort of distress, it's not like, it's not like it was 4 years ago when I called 911 on myself because I literally wanted to fucking die. It's nothing like that anymore. So like, distress to me is that I have this ability now to step back and be like, this meat suit is not in a good place at this very moment, this human being. And so I need to take care of her. So I have that awareness, which is really nice. But um, yeah, every direction, like, why do I have to know? A lot of mowing the lawn outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's a little bit distracting, but there's always going to be distractions. Can't catch a deep breath. I don't know what's up with that. Um, anyway, that doesn't feel like anything in particular, but it's okay to not know. It's okay to like not know where you're going. Oh, I know. And I also wanted to talk about talking about this made me think of hold on one second. Okay. So there is the saying that is, jack of all trades, master of none. And I learned about a month ago, I think, that there's actually a full phrase to it. And it goes like, a jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And I was like, yes, yes. Like, why can't you just know about a lot of things? You know, why can't you just do a lot of different things? I got pulled over when I was driving from Colorado to Texas. This was like months ago or whatever. And it was for Oh, it was because I didn't have my front license plate on, which I guess in Texas you have to, and it didn't have fucking holes for it. So, and I didn't know how to like make the holes, and so then I went to. It was a big deal. Not really even like it didn't cost me money or anything, but the cop was really cool. But he was like, "Where are you coming from?" Because I was about 8 hours away from San Antonio, which or near there, which is where I live, and I was like, "Well, I'm coming from Colorado." And he was like, "Oh, what were you doing there?" He probably thought I was buying weed or something, but like, I, I, I wasn't. And I said, "Well, I kind of live both places. I COVID happened. It was a weird question, and I stuttered a little bit because I'm like, I don't know how to answer this. Like, I sort of live in Colorado and Texas too, and I'm not like retired." And he was like, "Well, COVID happened a while ago, so you kind of need to make a decision." And I'm like, "No, I really don't. You know what I mean? Like, why can't I be mobile?" Our society is, in my experience, set up so that we feel kind of stuck. Like, and when I moved to Colorado in my early 20s, that was like a big deal to everybody. Like, you're going to move to Colorado. And the biggest question I got asked, which was the worst question for me ever, because it was what I asked myself, was, what if you fail? And in my head, I'm like, well, if I fail, I'll just come back. And like, are you not going to be my friend anymore or what? Like, why? What's so wrong with that? Like, I'm waitressing here. If I can't waitress there, then am I going to come back and have no friends? I don't know. Is this putting together even a cohesive message? It doesn't really matter. If you get anything from it, that's fine. Um, but I think a lot of what I've been going through for the past couple of years is getting used to the discomfort of not doing things the way that other people do them. And sometimes I try to like fit in to the round hole, like, and I'm a square, and I'll be like, and I have to bring myself back to the moment when I was in the mental hospital. And I'm not always there, but when things now get kind of off for me, I promised myself in the mental hospital that all the way up until that point, I had tried to make everybody else happy. And I thought that would make me happy. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a trade, you know? And that was an unfair expectation to put on other people as well. And I don't think I was doing it entirely consciously, but there was an expectation of like, okay, well, if I keep doing nice things for people, nice things will happen for me. And it got me to crazy. And I was like, from now on, I'm doing what makes me happy. Because then when I went crazy, I still had people that loved and supported me, but I had ended up pissing a lot of people off. And so I guess it's easier to piss people off when you're healthy so that you don't get mentally unwell. When I say you, I mean like collective you, me, us, we, humans. Um, and so I'll find myself sometimes like, without even realizing it, trying to sort of fall into step or do like what's supposed to be done or what I've always done, because old habits die hard. And I'm 46, and I was doing things the same way for at least 42 years until I went to rehab. Um, anyway, I just had a really profound meditation this morning. And I was watching a YouTube video. I can't remember the guy's name. but he was talking about we shouldn't even call it meditation because, and I've said that before, like call it sitting on a fucking chair, but you don't have your phone, you don't have like distractions. And, you know, I've been kind of called into silence recently. And it's not easy. It's not easy. I haven't been posting on Facebook because I just don't feel like it. But it's funny how often my brain will be like, check Facebook, go do it. And it's so automatic, you know, or like turn on YouTube. YouTube videos are the one that I'm kind of dealing with right now. And it's mostly astrology stuff and stuff that I'm into, but it's still a bunch of shit that's being thrown at my brain, which is what we're getting all the time. And then we don't give ourselves the opportunity. It's like just putting a bunch of papers on your desk and never having time to collate them and file them and make them, you know, in order or reread them. You know what I mean? And integrate what we think. And it's really important to me that I don't just think what other people think, that I process what I'm understanding and I feel it and I turn it around in my head, you know, and then get alternate views. And it goes on like that, but that requires some quiet and some cleaning off your desk, which is something that Jordan Peterson says too. Anyway, so obviously other people's words do get in our head. But I don't think you put that metaphor there. The original one of, you know, the messy desk with like all of your thoughts and everything that you pull in. Even kids in elementary school bring their books home to study because it's not just like receiving information, like I'm just, ugh. And then you try to have a conversation with somebody and you don't really have any original thoughts in your head. So you just spout off. And personally, I can't even have music that involves words. Sometimes I'll have like nature or whatever meditation music playing, but it really is total like no noise, except for like white noise, you know, background noise. For some reason that doesn't bother me. I think because my brain is not trying to make sense of it, you know, or count the beats or whatever that fucking subconscious gets up to. So there was my deep breath. Okay, so I said everything I needed to say, I guess. I just wanted to look really quick at the chart for today and see. I know we have the moon in Libra. So the moon in Libra is opposing Chiron today. The moon in Libra really wants to be fair to other people. And the moon is also trining off of Saturn. So we might be really disciplined in our relationships with other people, and in opposition to Chiron, that trine to Saturn, yeah, we might be able to be like, okay, so this is my wound. And oh wait, maybe that's their wound. If we have the presence of mind to get into that space today, that might be a really good day for it, like for observational, an observational practice of your like relationships and stuff like that. Anyway, I've got a busy day ahead of me, and I hope you have a great day on Earth. If you got anything out of this, well, yay. Peace. Namaste.